What's up, guys? This is the Two Friends and podcast where we choose a topic, try to stay on topic, but usually don't. What's today's topic, Cody?
We're gonna talk about jury duty.
The most exciting thing in the world.
Yes. So we wanted to do jury duty because Rebecca just got, well, called, I guess we'll say. Not chosen yet, but called.
Lucky me.
So what happened? What did you have to do? Because it seems like from what you've told me, it was very different than my experience.
Yeah, I got called for the week. I had to go in on a Monday. Like, we had to be there at 9 o'clock. The judge finally got there at they did some little introductory video, what your role is, and all that crap. The judge finally got there at 10:15. He was running late. And then they told us to leave again for 45 minutes. So we finally got started at 11. And then at 11:45, he released everybody so that the people, the actual lawyers and stuff, could have a break. So we went back at 12, and then at 12:30 we took an hour and a half lunch. And then we came back and we finally finished at I don't even know what time we finished, like 3, 4, 5, something like that. Well, they had multiple cases that week, but I guess they only ever got to one. So they selected people, and then the district attorney would question them, and then the if he found them okay, then the prosecuting attorney or the defense attorney would question them, and it took hours because to pick the ones that they wanted, because they would question them and then they'd get rid of some, and then the district attorney would finally be okay with them and be like, here, these are the ones that I'm good with. And then once he was okay with them, the defense attorney would question them, and he get rid of two, and then both of them would have to question them again. They ended up I don't know how many people they got rid of, but they ended up going through half the jury pool, and it was 100,
Wow.
120 of us there. Luckily I never got called up there. I never had to answer any questions. It was just the longest day of my life. And then they said that they would call us on Wednesday, that most likely I mean, Tuesday night. Most likely we'd have to come back Wednesday, but evidently the case took longer than they were expecting because they just released us for the rest of the week.
Wow. Well, what do you know what case it was? Like what was
Uh,
going on?
yeah, so that case was it was actually from 2016. Uh
Wow.
yeah, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
It took them 6 years to get to court?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened.
I wonder if it was like, is it like the original trial or was it a retrial?
No, it's the
Are you even
original.
allowed to talk about it?
It was the original trial. I never got selected for the jury, so I have very limited information. So yeah, I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm pretty sure. If you got selected for the jury, you couldn't talk about it till it was over, but I didn't get selected for the jury, so.
It's your first time ever being called, right?
Yeah. Hopefully the last time for a while. North Carolina, you have a 2-year waiting period, so you can only get called once every 2 years.
Did they let you keep your phone?
Yeah. If it went off, made any noise, they would confiscate it and you wouldn't get it back, but as long as it didn't make any noise, you were good.
Oh, I hate you.
I mean, you couldn't have it out while they were at, because they told you to pay attention in case you got called, that would take less time so that you would be familiar with the questions they were asking. So in between breaks and stuff, I could have my phone, but I didn't pull it out when they were talking.
They were cross-examining.
Right.
Yeah, that is very different than what I did. But you got called where you live now. I
Mhm.
got called when I was living in Pensacola.
Mhm.
That was the first time I had ever been called to do jury duty, and honestly, I was super excited because like the idea of being on a jury sounds really fun to me. Like I would love to be to have been chosen for a case,
Yeah,
but
I low key wanted to get chosen, but I didn't. It was sad.
it sounds like such a cool experience. Did they tell you when you would have to come back? since
No,
they released you?
no, so like you get 2 years waiting, like you get the 2 year gap, but like they
Oh, so you're like done.
yeah, I'm done. It was just a week and they released me for the rest of the week, so I'm like done. Yeah, so the way North Carolina does it is they have like a pool of eligible jurors and they just kind of like pull names out. So it's kind of random when you get selected. There was a few old people there that had never gotten called. Like this was their first time getting called and they were like 70. So it's really random the way North Carolina does it. They just kind of like randomly draw names.
Well, I think that's kind of standard though, isn't it? Like having it be random.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think they like go straight down a list most places. I'm not sure how other states do it, but yeah.
Well, when I had to do it in Florida, they had us come to the courthouse and we had to go through, all the metal detectors, and we had to go through COVID protocols because this was in like 2020.
Mhm.
So it was mid pandemic. And we had to go through like this checkpoint where they took all of our stuff. And on the paper they sent us, they said that when we went through there, we were not going to be allowed to take anything. So, like, we weren't allowed to have cell phones or like tablets, computers, anything. And to what I understood was that they took everything from you. So you were just put in the thing. So I didn't bring like a book or anything. However, apparently we could have books because like half the people brought them. So we were put in this room, this huge ass waiting room. It wasn't even like the courtroom, it was just a waiting room. And it was probably like 100-ish people. We sat there for roughly 2.5 hours before anything even happened. Like, we didn't even get that like intro video that you were talking about. They just had a TV playing random government propaganda. And so we sat there for like 2.5 hours, and then they came and pulled like one little section of jurors. I think it was like 10 or 12 people. Took them off to the courtroom.
Oh, so
We
you
never
didn't
saw
you
them
didn't even get
again.
to watch?
No, we like weren't allowed to do anything. And then it was probably like 3 more hours after that until they were like, "Okay, you can all go home." Yeah. And then they were like, "You're done."
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
that's crazy because we like all sat in the courtroom and like watched everything. Like they would pull us out of like we were all sitting in like the audience section of the courtroom and they would like pull 12 out and then we would all like watch them question them. It was really weird. Maybe because Pensacola
Yeah,
is
I would have loved
bigger.
that.
Yeah, it was like interesting. Maybe it's because Pensacola is bigger, but strange.
I'm honestly, it probably had something to do with COVID and like
Hmm.
not being allowed to have that many people
Oh
in
yeah.
the
Hmm.
actual courtroom. But like telling us we can't bring anything and then like taking our phones and shit and just putting us in a room for like 5 hours with the same 20 minutes of rotating government propaganda on the television is not, it's not it.
It's cruel and
So
unusual punishment.
yeah, so it was like just me sitting there for like 5 hours doing nothing.
That sounds horrible. And like when they didn't need us, they let us like leave. They were like, "Be back here at this time."
Nope. They just made us sit in that room.
I mean, we had to go back through the metal detector, but that was pretty chill too. You were just like, I like stuck my purse in the thing, walked through it, and then they like looked in my purse and handed me my purse back.
Oh no, we had to do the big metal detector, like the airport one. Then they had to do the wand too. It was a
That's
mess. They had to like do
crazy.
the COVID checklist stuff. Well,
That.
also Pensacola was like a COVID hotbed.
Hmm.
That probably had something to do with it too.
Yeah, like with COVID, as far as us, like they even when they were in the jury box, like they let you wear a mask. They didn't tell you had to wear a mask, but when you were in the jury box and answering questions, you had to take it off to answer the question.
Okay.
Yeah, so they weren't worried about COVID at all. Yeah, our courthouse is very like we're in a smallish county, and our courthouse does not have any kind of nice security measures at all. I'm like borderline unsure if it meets ADA requirements because so the first courtroom we were in, we ended up having switch courtrooms because they were doing construction because the plaster was falling off the wall. Um, but the first courtroom we in was upstairs, and the elevator has evidently been broken for 3 years. Yeah, and like the bathroom is down like a steep set of stairs.
Like at the
Yeah.
Oh, I just revealed where I lived. Hello. That is wild.
Yeah, like it can't meet disability protocols at all.
Oh, absolutely not.
Well, there's probably like other bathrooms they can go to, but they'd have to go like a long ways to get to them. Because there's like an old section of the courthouse and like a new section of the courthouse. Because the courtroom we got switched to, it was smaller and it was in the newer section of the courthouse, but it was definitely a lot nicer.
The one I had to go to had been freshly renovated because they were talking about, oh, how nice it is that you guys get to wait in this new big waiting room. And I was like, no.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Y'all took my damn phone.
Let me see if I can find a picture of what the Yeah, so I can't find a picture of the actual courtroom, but I'll put the picture of the courthouse where Cody is.
Okay.
Like this is the old section of the courthouse.
Oh, yeah, that is old.
And the courtroom was in this like upper part right here. So that's fun.
Did you have to pay for parking?
No.
I'm curious.
No.
We had to pay for parking.
It was hard to find parking because the courthouse itself doesn't have any parking, so you just had to use like public, like the city parking. But
we had to park in like this designated lot that was like probably a good half mile from the actual fucking courthouse.
What the hell?
Yeah, and we had to pay for it. They ended up reimbursing us, but I think it ended up costing like $6 or $7 to park for the whole day. And then they only reimbursed us $5.
What the hell?
Yeah. And then they didn't reimburse you for gas if you didn't drive over, I think it was like 40 miles or something.
That's insane.
Yeah. Which at the time, I lived a solid 20-ish miles. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but in Pensacola, that's like a 40-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
It takes forever to get anywhere there. So that was so fun.
Yeah. So it sounds like small town jury duty is much better than city jury duty.
I feel like that one would be easier to get like kicked out of though. Because if you're on a smaller town one, you have a better chance of, well, not better chance, higher chance of like knowing the person that's going to be on trial or being related to them.
Yeah, so that actually happened a few times. The biggest one was they were going through the jury pool and they were like asking them, so they asked them, do you know either of the attorneys? Do you know the person on trial? And like one of them was like, yeah, I know the person on trial. And they were like, how do you know them? And he was like, he's my son.
Not his son.
How did they like even select him? Somebody does not review the jury pool.
That Come on now.
So he got released.
Oh, that's my son. He's not guilty.
But there were a few like there was another guy that was like, yeah, I used to cut his hair. And then there was like another guy that knew the police officer because it was like a criminal case. So there was obviously like police officers involved. And he was like, yeah, I know the police officer. And they were like, at that point, because it's a small town, they were kind of like, how close do you know him? Like, have you seen him? Has he gone over to your house? Type deal. Because like the chances of us knowing people are high. So they kind of have to see like how close you are and if it would affect your decision.
Oh, I wish I would have been chosen because I didn't know anybody in Pensacola.
They kind of asked like do you, because they're like are police officers, do you find their testimony even either more credible or less credible than like a normal person? Like, would you be likely to believe everything they say or nothing they say just because of their profession?
That's actually a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't get chosen then. If we're going by that questionnaire, because I don't trust them. I I I have really conflicting feelings on cops. Like, I absolutely respect them and I respect the work that they do,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know that it is they the whole system is completely racist, and just because one specific cop isn't doesn't
Right.
mean the whole batch isn't, you know?
Right. Yeah. I know there's good cops. Like the majority of them are good from my experience, but then there are like the bad ones and you don't know which is which until you really get down to it.
Well, see, and what you just said, you can only speak from, your experience. I've
Right.
experienced bad cops personally, but I also have had like friends that were people of
Mhm.
color, and honestly just, even other white people that are like LGBT
Mhm.
who have had really bad experiences with
Mhm.
cops. So I don't necessarily, if they asked me that question, I'd have to be like, no, I don't necessarily believe what they say,
Right.
you know?
Just
So
because of who they are.
I'm gonna need proof outside of that, you know?
Well, yeah, but you would need like they were kind of asking like are you inclined to like not believe anything they're saying because they're cops? Like they were kind of
Oh, I
asking
wouldn't say that.
yeah, they were kind of like asking like do you believe them as much as you believe anybody else off the street? Like is the
Mm,
fact of their profession change what you would believe for them versus like a random person that you didn't know their profession?
okay. Hmm.
Like
Honest. Huh.
just because they're a cop, did they automatically have less credibility than like a random person?
Well, see, I think, like, in theory, they should have more credibility,
Hmm.
but realistically, I wouldn't say they have any more credibility than anybody on the street. And
Right.
honestly, depending on the trial, depending on the criminal, we'll say, depending on the case, like, they could have less credibility than someone on the street. So I think it's very complicated
Right.
without getting more information ahead of time, you
Right.
know?
And they were kind of like wanting to know like they were just trying to make sure that you wouldn't because of their profession treat them any differently. Like they would want you to treat them like any other witness.
Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of what they were looking for. They didn't want you to automatically think that they were telling the truth because they're cops, but they didn't want you to automatically think they were lying because they're cops. Like they
Yeah.
wanted them to have to prove themselves just as much as any other witness.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm on board with that. I think that's fair. I don't think they should get any sort of special treatment just because they're,
Right.
cops.
Right.
Maybe I wouldn't fail that then. I still like it's terrible. I still kind of want to get called,
Yeah.
but I know it's completely random.
Well, hopefully you get lucky.
Oh, lucky. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, as long as it's not me sitting in a waiting room for 5 hours again.
right. Which I mean, in the county you're in now, I'm sure it wouldn't be like that.
No, they'd probably have a jukebox in there for entertainment. I want to talk about the cop thing more, actually.
Okay.
Are you down for that?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't want to push anything. Do you know any cops? You're on trial.
Not currently, I don't think. Like military, like one of my coworkers works is PMO, which is like I forget what it actually stands for, but it's pretty much like the Marine cops.
Marine cops.
Yeah.
Are they NCIS? Are they the
No,
NCISs?
no, they're not that cool. They're just like the
Oh.
regular Marine cops. Like the ones that like stand at the gate and are like, "Are you allowed to be here? Give me your shit." Um, but
Oh yeah, you work on a base. What's it like getting on base?
like it's not that hard. You just kind of like show them your If it's like rush hour and there's a lot of people coming in, you pretty much just show them your they call it CAT card, a common access card. And it just like shows like where you work and like what agency you work for. Like mine says civilian, United States Marine Corps, stuff like that. You just show it to them and then they let you in. If it's like slower, they actually scan the back of your card to like make sure it's not fake, but and then they randomly have searches. When I worked there before, I actually got searched like 3 times, but I haven't gotten searched since I came back, knock on wood.
They're gonna search you now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Government agent watching this right now is gonna search you.
But it's not that bad.
When I was living in Pensacola, one of the roommates that I had, he was definitely an ACAB person,
Hmm.
which I don't necessarily disagree with, if I'm being honest. But it was really funny, like having any sort of conversation that ever like went back to law enforcement, especially with what was happening in 2020. It was fun. I I wish things hadn't gone so south with our relationship, because I enjoy talking to him about stuff like that. Because he was never afraid to just put it right out there. He
Mhm.
never held back. It was great.
Yeah, and like I've known cops in the past, like not closely, but like my grandma's best friend's son was a cop. My mom dated a cop. He was one of the bad ones. I think technically he was a sheriff's deputy, but definitely on the bad end of the spectrum.
Your
Uh
mom really knows how to pick them.
yeah, my mom was a nurse, so yeah. Um
Does it mean you can't have better standards?
that was like right after she got divorced though. So I think she regrets that decision. Um and then like the dare officer at my elementary school, my grandma worked in the cafeteria, so she was like really close to him and he was nice. Like we went on his boat a couple times and so yeah, I've definitely known bad and good.
I wonder if the dare officer at your school was the same one at my school.
What was his name? I can't remember his name. Like a big bald guy?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh.
I do not remember that time. I just know it either. Well, I guess it kind of worked, but not really.
Yeah.
That's not why I don't do drugs. Let's just put it that way.
But yeah, I've definitely known good ones and bad ones. I definitely wouldn't say all cops are bad, but there are definitely a lot that are and get in
Well,
for the wrong reasons.
There's that saying, like, one bad apple rots the bunch, and
Mhm.
honestly, that's completely true.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not just, like, it's never just one bad one.
Mhm.
It's the one bad one, and then the people around him who are protecting him,
Mhm.
and then the people around them that are protecting them.
Mhm.
So it branches off to form this, like, gross, awful spider web
Mhm.
where I do agree, kind of, but with the ACAB thing, because honestly, I think I've had, out of all of my experiences with cops, I've had maybe one that wasn't terrible,
Mhm.
but that was purely because I was mid panic attack. So like, he couldn't have done anything. There was nothing positive he could have done that would have stuck with me anyway.
Mhm.
It was just him like being like,
You good?
"You gonna die? Did you call somebody?" Yeah. When I was in that crash, when we were coming back here,
Mhm.
like a few years ago, like I had when we were coming back, we were going through Spartanburg, South Carolina,
Mhm.
and my mom had like branched off to go see her friend in the mountains,
Mhm.
and then me and my 2 sisters were coming here. Literally 10 minutes after she branched off from us, it started pouring down, raining, pouring. And then someone like 2 cars ahead of me slammed on brakes. So then everyone behind them slammed on brakes, but I didn't have enough time to stop. So I like slammed on brakes, but the road was wet, so I kept going and like hit the SUV in front of me. And so of course I was freaking out. The car was totaled. Like I totaled my car technically. And then the cop, like my mom made it to us before the cop ever did. He was like an hour later.
What did
It
your
was
mom say?
She was just trying to keep me from not passing out.
Cody, you're okay.
And you know what? It didn't work. I mean, I didn't pass out, but I didn't calm down either.
I think the
It
only
was. Mm.
so I've had two accidents. The first one, I hadn't had my license very long at all, and I was pulling out of our driveway,
Oh my
and
god.
and like I was looking to make sure there was no one coming behind me, and I wasn't looking in front of me, and I just kept turning, and ended up turning like out of our drive. Okay, so driveway road. I did this and went into our mailbox. But the thing is, like, people had like hit our mailbox so many times and like hit it with a baseball bat so many times. My stepdad had taken and gotten like a 4 foot by 4 foot cement stone block and like bolted our mailbox to it. So it wasn't like a pole I hit. It was like a 4 foot by 4 foot cement block. And I ended up like on top of that with my car in the air like this.
Oh my gosh.
And like I called my mom crying. And like I couldn't like get words out because I was hyperventilating so much. So my mom comes like running down the driveway in her gown. Like no bra on. I think she threw pants on, but she was like in her gown with like sweatpants pulled up over it, no bra.
Iconic, an iconic look.
Oh, it was so bad. And I was like running down the driveway towards her. Because
Yeah.
we had a long driveway, so it was very dramatic.
Was that the house that we hung out at?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was a long ass driveway too.
Yeah, it was terrifying. But that wasn't the worst one. Like that one we ended up not like filing on insurance or anything. It was like fixable. And that was with like my first car too, which was like a 94 Oldsmobile. Like it was sturdy. But I had just gotten a new car. Like that car had stopped working. And there was like a whole thing. Like so I got a Toyota Camry and like I bought it, drove it up to school, and I was driving it back down here to visit my mom, and like all the lights came on. So we got here. This is like literally like a week after we bought it. So we got down here and we took it to the Toyota dealership here to like figure out what was wrong with it. And they were like, this car has been flooded. Like there's mud under the floor mats and stuff. They just cleaned it up to make it look like it hadn't been. So my mom like fought with Mark Jacobson Toyota in Durham or Raleigh for like 2 weeks to finally get her money back on that. And we had just bought a Honda Civic. And I had that and I was driving to pick up one of the little girls from our church was like special ed and we were taking her out to dinner, me and my friend Nicole. So we were going to pick her up and we were on like the back roads and I came around a curb and like the car that was coming at me like blinded me. They had their high beams on and I couldn't see for a second. And when I like could see again, there was a car stopped in front of me that was trying to turn and I didn't have time to stop. Like I locked my brakes and like turned toward. Yeah, I like turned right so I didn't hit it head on, but like my driver's side hit the car and just like it peeled my driver's side off. Yeah. I was hysterical. I mean Nicole called my mom. I was like, I've only had this car a week. I can't tell her.
Oh my gosh. You truly had the curse of the new driver.
Yeah, I was like, you gotta call my mom. And Nicole called my mom and she was like, everyone's okay. But she was like, my mom was like, give the phone to Rebecca. And Nicole was like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Give the phone to Rebecca.
Yeah.
No.
And Nicole's like, she's talking to the cop. So like the lady, like the daughter, the kid's mom came and picked me up and like took me to like we were eating lunch. I called my ex-boyfriend to come get me, my boyfriend at the time to come get me. Side note, he was a complete ass about that. Like he had to drive like 45 minutes both ways and he asked me for gas money to come do that because I wrecked my fucking car. But anyway, when I got back to my apartment, like, so my mom tried not to tell Nanny, but
That wouldn't have worked. That
yeah.
never would have worked.
Yeah, so she called my uncle to see if he could check on me, but Nanny found out. And everyone was telling her not to come, but she made it back to my apartment before I did, driving from Roxborough.
That seems about right for her.
Yeah. She was pissed because I like because I just kept telling her to go home because I just wanted to go to sleep.
Oh my gosh. I was that my Oh, you know what? I'm gonna tell about my first accident.
Oh god.
Um, so this was long before I actually got my license. So, I don't know if how true this is for other places, but like where we live in the South, it's pretty common for people to be driving long before they're supposed to be driving. And so I had been driving, I think I've been driving since I was probably like 11, 10 or 11. Like my parents would let me drive the car like down the road and they would let me, practice on the back roads and stuff. So there was one day, I think I was like, I'm going to say 12, but I bet you my mom is going to listen to this and then text me to be like, no, you were 13 in 3 days or something. Like, and I got in my mom's minivan and I went to go in reverse.
Oh, you had the trampoline. I remember the story.
Story over. Yes, I went in reverse and we had a trampoline in our side yard. And when I was turning, because you have to like when you're backing out of my driveway, you have to like turn to get to someone else's driveway and then go forward because it like branches off. Yeah, and I went to turn and then I was trying to brake, but I hit the gas.
Oh god.
And so I sped up in reverse and hit the trampoline full force with this minivan. And it like crumpled and like came around the van. It was bad. It was bad. Because it was just one of those like aluminum frame trampolines. So it's sturdy until you break it.
I was surprised he didn't just push it out of the way.
Same. That would have made things easier. You know what's awful? Like the wind has fully taken the trampoline places before, and it did nothing. But I hit it with a car one time, and it crumples into oblivion. And so, of course, my parents hear it because it's right beside the damn house. And like they come out and my dad is like upset with me and I'm just like, I'm sorry, because I'm a child. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And then my mom, like, she brings me inside and she's like, are you okay? And I said yes. And then she was like, I'm not mad, I just need you to not do that again. And so I didn't drive for a while after that. But that was the first accident. And thankfully I didn't, to my memory, I didn't do any real damage to the car. Like I didn't break any windows or anything. I think I just like probably gave it some dents and scratches and shit. But like the trampoline was totaled.
I'm gonna need you to not do that again.
Yeah. That's honestly, I think that's all of my accidents really.
Yeah.
The only other one I've been in was someone else was driving. That's the one that fucked up my neck so bad.
I had a accident I was accused of, but that didn't actually happen.
Really? Okay, spill.
So I got off work. I worked on like at our cafeteria at the college I went to. The college I went to. And I had just like gotten back to my dorm. I like parked my car. Like I might have been like parked a little crooked, maybe. But anyway, I like parked my car and then like I went back to check on the lights to make sure I turned the lights off. And like evidently someone had saw that and thought that I hit the car next to me and like I went back to check on the damage. And like yeah, so I went back in my dorm like because nothing had happened. I like changed into my pajamas, like chilling in my room, and like one of my quad mates came to my room. I was like, "There's a LU police officer at the door for you."
They're gonna take you to Jesus jail.
Because they like ran my plates and they were like, "Oh, this is where she lives," and because we have to register our cars on campus, so like they know where our dorm is. So he was like, "Are you Rebecca Ellis?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "I need you to step outside with me." Like, okay.
Oh.
And like I don't remember exactly what happened, but he pretty much just told me that like he was like, "Did you hit this car?" I'm like, "Not that I know of." And he's like, "You're saying that this white paint on this car isn't from your car?" I'm like, "Not that I know of." They were having trouble getting the girl, and like he was already like filling out the report and stuff that I had hit the car, and I was like,
Oh my god.
I don't know. I don't think I hit the car. And I was like, what do I do? I've never been in an accident before. And like he saw like the scratch from like the mailbox incident, and he thought that that was like where I'd hit the car. And I'm like, it has rust on it. It's not where it's not, it's
Yeah.
from the mailbox thing. But he like had me convinced that I'd hit this car and didn't know it. And the girl whose car it was finally came out, like they finally got her from her dorm, and she was like, "Yeah, no, I hit a bus." Like she was trying to back out and she had like skirted and like scraped the side of a bus.
Why were you parked beside? You don't park beside buses. What are you talking
I don't
about,
know.
girl?
Evidently, a bus like parked behind her, and she was trying to get out, and she like scraped the bus. But like she was like, "Yeah, no, that's been there." The cop didn't say sorry or anything. He was just like, "Oh, never mind. You can go back to your dorm."
Yeah. They never do, even though they cause them extreme emotional damage. When I was working at the ice cream place, ice cream fudge, whatever, I had taken my mom's car to work because my dad wanted to work on mine that day. And so I took her car, came to work, everything was fine, everything was normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left work and I was getting in the car and realized someone scraped my mom's car. Like someone had clearly like pulled way too close and had scratched it when they were going in and didn't say anything. Didn't leave a note, didn't do anything. So there was like long scratches along my mom's car. And I then had to come home and be like, "Mommy." Because it was like new. This was when she had first gotten it,
Oh
and it was
God.
nice and new. And of course, the one time I have to take it to work, it gets fucking scratched. Like,
Of course.
people are awful. I mean,
Yeah.
that's also where my one of my sister's coworkers, her car just got fully like hit. Like the car was like hit, and then the person just left and didn't say anything.
My ex did that. Yeah, he like
What?
he backed into a car in the parking lot and like drove away. I'm like, "You're not gonna like say anything?" He's like, "They won't notice."
Yes, they will. No, I'm not. I guess I don't know. Maybe I would do that. I don't know. I I would feel bad though.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
how would you
evidently,
not feel bad? You really hurt somebody's car.
well, he had no like feelings anyway, so.
Oh, this was
Uh-huh.
okay. No, that makes total sense. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Trying to think, do I have any other cop stories? Oh, I remember. So this was only a couple years ago. It was like after I moved back here. Like Nick and I had been living in the apartment for a little while. So I was at Food Lion. I was getting back in my car, and this woman, like as I was walking to my car, she was like, "Hey, can I get a ride?" I was like, "Where are you going?" And she told me, I was like, I was going that way, but I was like, "No, I'm going the opposite direction. Sorry." So I like thought that was the end of it, and I got in my car and she got in with me. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And she like had this big purse and like I was like, is there a gun in there? I don't fucking know what's going on.
She
And
just got in your car?
yeah, and I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't want to tell her to get out because I was scared she had a gun or something. So I just did what she told me to do. And like I took her to her house and like left her, and then like I called Nick crying because I was like trying to keep my composure, like pretend like nothing was wrong with her in the car. And then I called Nick crying, and he's like, "You need to call the cops." So I called the cops, and like I told them. They like came to they came to the apartment later, and we were moving at the time, so we had like everything pulled out, and we had like all the liquor in the liquor cabinet like on the counter. So they were like asking me questions and stuff about it, and like they asked me like 3 or 4 times like how old I was, like when my birthday was, like all this stuff. And I like told them, but I thought it was weird. And then as soon as they left, I like turned around and I was like, oh. I have like 14 bottles of alcohol sitting on the counter.
I love that that has literally nothing to do with what happened, but they have to waste time asking you how old you are.
Evidently, this
I was just carjacked. Like, what does that have to do with anything? A lady just carjacked me. She held me hostage. It made me drive her home.
evidently like that was the first time they've ever known her. They like knew about her. Like I gave her a description and stuff, and they like knew about her. But they said
Well,
that was the first time she's ever actually gotten in someone's car. Like she
so
asked,
she like, was doing that regularly?
like asking people for rides and stuff. Yeah, she was a little like touched. Like she wasn't quite there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
She like asked people for rides a lot, but that was the first time she had like gotten in someone's car unwelcomely. It was also like the night before Halloween. Yeah. It was like October 30th. And like she made me stop at a gas station so she could get hot dogs to give out to the trick-or-treaters. She needed hot dogs and candles.
why didn't you drive away?
I was scared. I was like, I didn't know what to do. I just waited for her to come out of the gas station.
I mean, okay.
That's what my mom.
I guess
That's what my mom said too. She was like, "Why didn't you drive away at the gas station?" I was like, "I didn't know what to do."
okay. You know what? I get it. Honestly, I get it. Like that's very funny. That could have gone so bad. Like you're lucky she was just purely just wanting to go home and not actually wanting to murder you. Like because that was a recipe for like someone kidnapping you and then turning you into like a horror movie Halloween game.
Yeah.
Like they were Rebecca.
I was texting Nick like while she was in the gas station. I was like, "This woman just got in the car with me. I don't know what to do. Help!" Like, and I like emergency sent my location to him.
I cannot.
hmm
I guess she did know where you lived if she was there at your apartment, so
Oh no
she
no.
could have just waited.
Oh no, she wasn't at my apartment. She was at the Food Lion.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah, no, the cops came to my apartment later.
Got it. Okay. Did she get her hot dogs?
Yeah.
I
She asked me if I wanted one.
It's probably good you didn't say yes.
Yeah, and like I took her to like the sketchy area too. And she had me just drop her off by this fence. Like honestly, it's probably like really sad. Like she's probably like mentally handicapped and like homeless because she was cooking hot dogs over a fire over a candle, but
Yeah, that's kind of
it's really
honestly that's what first popped in my mind. I was like, "Was this person homeless?"
yeah, it's really sad
Like,
like but it was also terrifying cuz you don't know at the time like what their deal is.
yeah, it's really unfortunate that they know that she's doing this and aren't like trying to get her help.
Right.
Like, because if she is homeless, like y'all could do something for her, like help her find somewhere to go because there's shelters that will take.
Like I think she might like have a house or live somewhere, but I don't know if they have like electricity
Yeah,
kind of deal.
that's
Cuz I mean, she did have me take her to like a trailer park area, but
that's really sad. And also, you're so lucky you were not completely murdered.
yeah, it's a fun combination of those two.
honestly, it's not like I have too much room to talk. There's so many times I could have been murdered doing some hoe shit. So like I can't blame you too much. But
I keep my passenger door locked now.
you should never unlock the other door. That's so wild. Just got in the car with you. I can like I don't even know. I don't know what I would do in that situation. Like I maybe just get out of the car. Like and if they pull a weapon, I don't know. Like that's so crazy.
Be like, oh shoot, I forgot something in Food Line. I'll be right back.
Oh, I forgot to get eggs.
That's
Let
what
me
I
go right back in.
That's what I should have done. And then like went inside and called the police and be like, there's a crazy woman in my car.
Yeah, go to the cashier, be like, a crazy woman just got in my car. We need the police now. That reminds me of a story, not about carjacking like you went through, but I was coming back from my mom's house one night and I had to stop to get gas.
Mhm.
And I had pulled, it was like, wasn't a super busy gas station, but it was busy enough to where it was like fine. And it wasn't sketchy or anything, so I wasn't worried about it. But I pulled up to the pump and then there was this car on the other side of it, and it didn't look sketchy, it just looked like the woman was pumping gas. And so I'm not even out of my car yet.
Mhm.
Like I had just like I disconnected my phone from the Bluetooth and I was getting out to pump gas. And before I can even open my own door, the woman is like knocking on my window. And like I like owl head like creep like hello? Yes, can I help you? And she's like, "Hey, can I have some money for gas?"
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I don't carry cash on me." And then like she literally tried to open my car door. She tried to open my car door. And thankfully I keep all of my other doors locked. And so literally she's like yanking on the door and I'm like, "I don't have any money for you. I'm sorry, I can't help you." And she's like, "We just need a little bit of gas money, please." And I just turned the car on and drove away. Like I was almost empty. Thank God I made it to the next fucking gas
Oh
station.
my
But
god.
like she was trying to get in my damn car. And I don't know if they were homeless because it was her and like 3 other people in the car. So like if she had gotten in my car, I don't know what would have happened. Like her little companions could have been like, I
Oh, we don't need gas money. We'll just take your car.
yeah, we'll just take your car. We'll just kill you. And what was wild is that wasn't a sketchy gas station.
It was like a normal gas station.
Yeah. I mean, it was on like not really a side road. It was on a main road. It just wasn't super populated.
Mhm.
But like it wasn't a sketchy area. It wasn't a sketchy gas station. Like I've been there many times, never had a problem. And then this one time, can I have some gas money? Like
Jeez.
people are wild. People are wild.
You never know.
No. And like I don't that's scary. It scares me. I every time I think about that story, I'm like, what the fuck would have happened if my door had been open? Like she could have had a weapon, like they could have been in cahoots. I don't know, and I wonder if like other people this had happened to. And I thought about going into the gas station and like telling the attendant, like, "Hey, these people are like being weird. Something needs to be done about them." But then I was like, I'm not getting out of my fucking car.
Yeah, don't blame
I'm
me.
not like because in the time it would take me to get over to the actual entrance, because I would have to completely turn around and like go around. They can just go to the entrance. So then I'm like not getting out of my car.
My roommate freshman year of college almost got like I'm pretty sure that like sex trafficking kidnapped type deal at Target. Yeah, so like her and like her friend were they were going to Target. It was like late at night, like 10 or 11. because this was when Target was open to midnight. And like there were these guys that were sitting out front, and like they like whispered something to the other one, like this is a good one or something like that. And like they went in and like followed them around Target the entire time. And like when they got ready to leave, they like went and told somebody. They were like, this guy's been following us, like we need someone to walk us to our car. And like when they went to their car, there was like a van parked next to it. And like when they were getting in, like the door opened and they saw the guy that like had walked them out and like slammed the door.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Not at the Target.
It was either Target or Walmart, but I'm pretty sure it was Target.
That is nuts.
Like,
Although now that you think about it, like there was like a whole thing of that happening a few years ago, wasn't there?
yeah, and like Lynchburg like had a bad problem with stuff like that too. Like more than like normal places. But she like got back to the dorm and was like hyperventilating, crying, terrified.
Yeah. I mean, understandably so. Where I was working at the strip mall, name insert here, for both the escape room and the ice cream place. I didn't learn this until well into it, but apparently the town that was like right over behind it was notorious for shit like that.
Really? That's
Yeah. And that scared the absolute hell out of me because of course my sister is like working there late nights alone sometimes. My friends who like I'll just use the ones for example that I moved in with because they were working there too. Like they were both gnome height.
Mhm.
Like if they were gonna get, they're the snatched ones. Like they're gonna
Grab them
it.
and run.
It was terrifying. Like I can't imagine because it was super creepy there at night. Like there was like one security guard that would walk the entire place, but half of them were old.
Mhm. They couldn't
And then
run.
no. And like when I brought up safety issues to my managers at the ice cream place, which we can talk about that more during the job episode because there's a lot to talk about there. When I brought up the safety issues like that, they were just like, "Oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. You guys just make sure to be safe." And I was like, "Well, could we maybe implement some sort of like buddy system or something so that there's not like a 5-foot person working here alone at
Right.
midnight with no one else around because all of the other stores closed before us. Everywhere else closed before us. We were the last people in that place that weren't security guards or like night cleaning crews that worked at a few of the restaurants that were on the other side of the wharf. So
Yeah,
like
no one should be there by themselves at night.
no. Oh, you know what? My sister, when she was working at the coffee shop that was there, they actually had an issue with a stalker. There was someone who for like I think it was for like a few days would like be across the road like watching the store at night. And then one night someone called them and was like heavy breathing into the phone and like mumbling to themselves. And it was three girls, two of which were very
Tiny.
small, and then my sister, which you met,
Mhm.
right? She's not like they were there completely alone.
Mhm.
It took forever for the security guard to get there, and I think they actually ended up calling the cops, but like the cops said they couldn't do anything about it because there wasn't actually anything going on. And it was like, what the fuck do you mean nothing's going on?
Like people just
Like
don't call and heavy breathe into the phone for fun.
no, and they're like I get like oh they can just stay in the store until people come to escort them. But like you're not addressing the root issue then. That always got me. It was so creepy. There was one night where two of the people that I was working with got flashed. Yeah, it was like a concert night and it was like the end of the night so the people were like going home and there were some stragglers like walking around the strip mall even though it was probably like 11 p.m. and literally like whipped his dick out and was like it like that place was interesting.
Yeah. I don't think I want to work there.
No, trust me, nowhere there pays you enough to work there. It was a time, it was a journey, it was an experience.
You made it out alive.
Yes.
Somehow.
We you know what? We have to do jobs soon
Yeah, we
then.
do. That's been on the list for a while.
I have so much to say.
Same. I've had so many jobs.
I mean, I haven't had a ton, but I think I've technically had like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So not a ton, but I have stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was only working for 4 years, but in those 4 years, I have enough story to stretch. Like, we could go all the way from like ghosts to like sexual harassment. Like, it really runs the gamut.
That's gonna be a good episode.
Maybe that should be our next one.
Yes, let's do that.
Ooh, what's our next paranormal one?
I definitely want to address Bigfoot.
Okay. We can do more like lore
Yeah.
stuff. That'll make up for the cryptid podcast I'm not doing right now. All right. Do we have any more thoughts we would like to say? Anything else we would like to put out there?
I think so. I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. Make sure to give us a like and a follow on
Instagram, TikTok,
all of them.
Spotify, YouTube. Fuck it up.
All the places.
Yes.
We'll see you next week and we hope you have a great week. Bye.
Bye.